Noah Harris is a junior sports management major, and his fiancée, Franny Nall, is a senior university studies major here at HOGU. The pair is from Lowell, Indiana, where they met in high school. Fast forward to 5 years later, and the couple has been through 2 colleges and the many peaks and valleys of life together, and are better for it on the other side. They both feel that God has led them to where they are now, and have each grown in a multitude of ways. In just a few short months, Noah and Franny will tie the knot and begin their happily ever after. Sit back and relax as you get to hear from 2 of the many amazing students at Hannibal LaGrange University. I'm your host, Jace Lobner, and this is Trojan Time. Hello and welcome back to Trojan Time, the podcast where we sit down with students and faculty on the campus of Hannibal LaGrange University to talk about their experiences at HLGU. Today's guests are one of the engaged couples here on campus, Noah Harris and Franny Nall. How are you 2 doing?
Good.
Doing good.
First things first, can you guys tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm Franny. I am a senior university studies major here at Hannibal LaGrange. I play on the volleyball team, and I am from Lowell, Indiana.
My name is Noah. I am also from Lowell, Indiana. I'm a junior sports management major, and I am a part of the baseball team here.
Awesome. Okay. Franny, can you, first of all, tell me the story of how you 2 met and got together?
Noah's brother, Jordan, and I were close friends because we had a performance class together. We had a Christmas recital, and I saw Noah across the room and knew I wanted to get to know him. So after we were all done performing, I went up to Noah, gave him some of my peanut butter fudge, and the rest is kind of history.
And how long has it been since you 2 have been together?
5 years.
Dang. All right, so obviously you got together in high school, and there was a stop that you had before Hannibal LaGrange that happened to be Lincoln Christian University. Do you guys want to talk about your experience as a couple there?
Yeah, for sure. LSU is definitely, I would say, not our best patch as a relationship. You kind of go through trials and tribulations, and I feel like people are lying if they just make sure it's like, I feel like people are lying when they say it's all sunshine and rainbows in a relationship, because we definitely struggled there, and that was one of the hardest parts of our relationship. But that's also where we learned the most as a couple, I would say. So I'm very glad that we went through LSU together, but also kind of sad it closed because we have some core memories there as a couple.
For sure, and that was the first time that you 2 got to experience being away from home as a couple. It was kind of more real in that sense. Do you feel the same thing?
Yeah, and it was especially hard because I'm a year older than Noah, so when I was a freshman, he was still back 2.5 hours away as a senior in high school, so I kind of just had expectations when he got there that weren't met, but it was my fault for I set myself up for failure, definitely.
I mean, long distance is a hard thing. You gotta live and learn, and there's a lot of, like Noah was saying, there's a lot of trials and tribulations you go through, especially with that, but you guys made it through, and you're here on the other side, so that's good.
For sure.
And as Noah mentioned earlier, LCU did happen to shut down, which is how you guys ended up here at Hannibal LaGrange.
Correct.
What was it like having to transfer from a school you didn't want to leave, and especially looking for a place to go as a couple?
For sure. It was definitely very complicated. Once we found out Lincoln was closing, it was right before our baseball season, Jace, so you know how complicated that was, trying to find the right school, trying to get recruited. So basically, once we played Hannibal LaGrange, I was in talks with them about coming on a visit, just getting to know the coaches, the players. And so it was nice because I didn't have to come to a tryout for them. My tryout was playing against HLG, so thankfully I did really good and got a pretty good offer to come here. So I felt like it was right and took it. And then, Franny, if you want to explain your side of the story.
My recruiting process was a little harder than Noah's because my season had already ended, and so a lot of schools had already finished recruiting for the volleyball season because we're in the fall. So I had a connection here. The old volleyball coach was alumni to Lincoln Christian, so I came here for a visit, played some volleyball, and I just love my teammates are the reason I came here, as well as what Noah wanted. We focused on our teams and financial ability when it came to it.
Yeah, it definitely just fit us best. It was between this and Grace Christian was just buco expensive, and we felt like God was calling us here. So
for sure, you gotta answer God's call, and I think this was definitely the right choice. Let's talk about athletics a little bit. Noah, how has your experience here as a baseball player been?
For sure, it's been amazing under the Babcocks. I kind of got to know them at Lincoln. They were coaches at North Central University out in Minnesota, and we ended up playing them at Lincoln. So they were trying to recruit me to go to North Central, but I didn't want to go to Minnesota. So had a couple contact with them throughout the fall and the spring. So when I found out they were the head coach, it was super dope. Like, I didn't really have that nervous anxiety of who's going to be my head coach. But I just absolutely love the team. I love the players. I feel like I'm really close with most of the guys on the team, which is dope. At Lincoln, I didn't feel like I was close with everyone, but here it's just been a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of pretty good opportunities to play as well, so that's always dope.
For sure. And Franny, how has volleyball been?
I've definitely been tested physically and mentally, but overall I wouldn't trade it for the world. I loved my teammates, loved all the things my coaches taught me, and I'm going to miss it a lot.
For sure. And let's rewind a little bit to when you guys first came to HLGU. Obviously, going to a new place is always going to be hard. Talk to me a little bit about just the things that you had to adjust to as you came into this new place.
I would say it's kind of just hard when you come in as a transfer because a lot of people who have been here already have their friends. Luckily, I got the chance to be friends with the people who came from LCU. We weren't necessarily friends at LCU, but we had something to bond over because it was just a tough transition, and we were now 2 more hours away from home, so it was just harder being away from our families.
For sure. Do you have anything to say on that, Noah?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was kind of easy transition-wise for me just because I had our LCU group, and even though we didn't know each other well enough, we were kind of all in the same position of transferring, and we were all the new students, so it was a dope environment at first for me, but then I definitely struggled trying to branch out, and then I just realized I don't need a ton of best friends, so I had my LCU group, and that's all I really needed.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit, about how it's been kind of, making new connections, like you guys said, like everyone who came from LCU wasn't as close there, but now we're all close here. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So all of us kind of knew each other. Eddie was actually my neighbor on my floor, so I got to know Eddie because of how loud he was. And me and my old roommate didn't really mess with how loud he was, so towards the end of the spring semester, we kind of talked a little bit, got to know each other. I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool dude. Me and you were teammates, Jace, so we got to know each other pretty well. We weren't as close. We were kind of in different groups, but then I kind of matured more in my faith, and I got to grow more and matured as a person, so I realized I went down a path I wasn't really supposed to be going down. So when I came here, I met you guys, and I got close with Jansen, Nehemiah, AJ Collins, who isn't here anymore. It was just a good group of people, and we all kind of had the same common interests, so it was just super dope.
For sure. And now that we are 2 years in to being at Hannibal, let's talk about you guys as just people yourselves. So, Franny, first of all, how have you personally grown in your time at HLGU?
I would say my time here has really allowed me to grow spiritually. At LCU, I was a Christian, obviously, because I went to LCU, but I was not involved in anything there at all. So coming to HLG, I did struggle my first year with feeling connected to the school and just growing. So this year, I threw myself into a lot. I became an RA. I'm obviously a part of the volleyball team, but I also joined our chapel band, so that helped me to meet new people and really grow more, to be more confident in myself, as well as just help me grow and want to be involved with the church more. Yeah,
was joining chapel band doing stuff that you feel uncomfortable with, something you saw yourself doing, or was that kind of just a in-the-moment decision?
I had talked about it a little bit last year. But I'd always talked myself out of it because I was like, they're such good singers, I don't know. But Jacob texted me this summer and was like, hey, I heard you can sing. Do you want to do it? Definitely left him undelivered for about a week before I answered, and he never lets me live it down. So it's just been a ride.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you got up there. Your voice is amazing, and you kill it every time.
Thanks.
And it's good that you've been able to step out of your comfort zone and do something like that. Now, Noah, how have you grown here at HLG?
I definitely agree with Franny. I've grown a lot in my faith. I was a preacher's kid growing up, so I kind of was always grown up in the church. Literally, every day after school, I was in the church hanging out with the pastors and my dad. But once I kind of got to Lincoln and I was kind of on my own, I made some dumb decisions. I wasn't doing things that was appropriate. I also wasn't doing the right things, the godly things. And so when I realized I came home from Wisconsin that summer, I played summer ball up there and was just isolated again by myself. And I came home and talked to my mom, and I was just like, I'm really upset with myself. I'm doing a lot of things I shouldn't be doing, and I just feel empty right now. And so when I got here to HLG, I kind of just dove more deeper into my faith, and I got more involved in the church, the Crossing in Quincy. And then I also just took my faith way more seriously, and I was able to talk more about it. I was also able to study the Bible more, and definitely being a part of the friend group I'm in right now helps a lot. So you guys have always pushed me to be more comfortable with my faith and just grow more in it. So yeah,
for sure. And I've seen that growth that you've had in you, and I'm very proud of you and
for sure
where you've come. Now, as a couple, I'm sure you guys have grown as well. I mean,
you got engaged here at Hannibal. So talk to me just about how you guys have grown together.
There is a honeymoon phase, and you do grow out of it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows all of the time. We were tested. We came out of the test together, and it's, for me personally, I used to want to be around Noah all of the time. I thought that us being in a relationship mean we had to do every single thing together. We've definitely grown, and not as our relationship, but also as people separately. So we have come to the understanding that it's okay to have your own separate lives while being in a relationship. We can do things by ourselves. We can have separate friends. But at the end of the day, you're going to come home together. And I think that's something we've really honed in on because we're about to move in together after we get married this summer. So it's going to be a lot of us being together all the time when we're married. So we're trying to focus on making those relationships with the people who won't be here next year.
For sure. Noah, do you have anything to say?
No, I just 100% support what she had to say. Like, at Lincoln, we went through our trials and tribulations, and we walked out of the fire together, and that's all that really matters. And now, kind of what she said, we've grown more independently, so it's like we've realized we don't need to spend every second of our day with each other. Like, we each have our own lives. Like, she plays volleyball, she's a teammate, she's an RA. Like, I play baseball, I have my teammates, I have my LCU group. So I think that's where we've matured the most, is just realizing, like, at the end of the day, we'd like to come back together, either call, talk about our day, just kind of ask how we're doing mentally, physically, how our day was. If we need to talk about anything, just go from there. So
for sure. Noah, do you want to walk me through last summer?
For sure.
When you popped the question?
For sure. Yeah. So it was a last-minute decision. So she was going out to Colorado, like, literally 2 days before I proposed. And I planned on just doing it when she got back from Colorado, but I realized it would be dope for her to go see her sister with a ring on her finger. So I planned it out so last minute. Like, the night before, I called her aunt. I was like, hey, I need her to go get her nails done. Like, I'm going to propose tomorrow. And at that time, I already had their blessing, and so I knew I was ready. But the anxiety was definitely through the roof. And then we ended up going out to Texas Roadhouse, like, last minute. And so I think she probably knew what was going on. She's not dumb. She's really smart. And so we went to Texas Roadhouse, and then there was this park in Munster, Indiana, which is probably like 10 minutes away from where we were eating. And I was like, let's go catch the sunset, of course. And so we kind of walked around a little bit, and I was, like, shaking. I was really nervous. And then I had someone take photos for us, and she kind of caught on to what I was doing, thankfully. And so she was just snapping away, and then I got on the knee. And it was literally the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, the pictures came out perfect. The sunset was perfect. Like, it was just a perfect day. So.
Yeah. You did it smooth.
Yeah, it was nice.
I was impressed.
It was super dope. Yeah, I was really, really nervous. And then, yeah, we threw a surprise party for her. So.
And as we approach this summer, when you guys are getting married, how excited are you guys for the wedding?
I'm very excited, but I'm also so nervous because who's letting us live alone together?
Yeah. I don't know who allowed that.
That's definitely questionable.
It's been 109 days.
I know, it's coming up fast.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
So last thing, I want to ask you guys, as students coming to a well, Franny, you're coming to a close as your time at HLGU. Noah, you still have a year left after this.
Yes.
What is your favorite part about being at Hannibal LaGrange?
I would say it's the people. The people really make this school. It's not just the students, it's the faculty, it's the coaches, it's my friends. They are really opening to getting you involved and making sure you love what you do here. And that's something that meant a lot to me because, like I said, my first year I felt really secluded. So it's just these people make me feel like I have a home.
What about you, Noah?
I would say my favorite thing about HLGU has been the baseball team. At Lincoln, we weren't all super close. We were all divided. Like, everyone had their own group, and the group that I was in wasn't the best group for me. We weren't making the best choices, and so I came here thinking, like, oh, it's going to be the same thing, but it wasn't. Like, they opened their arms up to me so wide when I came into campus. Like, everyone was so dope. Everyone was so willing to talk to me, get to know me. And then that just made my transition so much easier, was just feeling like I got a family outside of my LCU group with my baseball team, my coaches, and it's just always been a good environment. It's been like my escape from life sometimes. So, yeah, I just absolutely love my coaches, my team. Like, there's not been one moment where I'm like, if something comes up, I can't reach out to one of my coaches or my teammates. So, yeah, they've been dope.
For sure. I think we can all say having a transfer here, it was God leading us here, and this
For
was
sure.
definitely the place
Yeah.
that we were meant to be.
For sure.
Well, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you guys both for sharing your story and being honest with me.
Yeah. Thank you, Jace.
Of
Thanks
course.
for having us.
Of course. Until next time, this has been Trojan Time.
Noah has been introduced to many new experiences since coming to HLG. His time as a baseball player has given him genuine connections and hard lessons. His relationships with previous friends and Franny have thrived, and he has become a man after God's heart. Franny has stepped out of her comfort zone during her time at HLG. Not only did she become an RA, but she tried out and has since performed for the chapel band, singing in front of the whole campus. On top of it all, she too has found herself chasing after the Lord day after day. The pair has grown individually and together more than they ever thought possible during their time at Hannibal LaGrange. And to us, that's just another day in America's hometown. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this couple's story. Until next time, I'm Jace Lobner, and this has been Trojan Time.